Voltron final
Voltron.
season. Episodes 1 through 3. What do you think, David? I'll let you start off.
Well, considering you just watched them,
I watched the first one with you, and then, the last two. So,
the last two you literally probably just watched before this call.
yeah.
I've been ready for this video for almost a week now.
Bullshit. It was like a day or two. Either way, so I want to actually get your thoughts, because we're going to be treating it all as like one big episode, so we can jump around with what happened between those three. So I'm curious in your thoughts on episode 2 and the whole, like, basically what happened to her when Lotor was born, and like how like her memory was really affected and because of the quintessence, and like that was those were a lot of powerful scenes, and I guess it just kind of makes sense now why how that whole family structure was so just like fucked in every way, you know?
So wrong to say it's kind of familiar to me.
Oof. Who's my mom?
It's very, very bizarre seeing that, given some of my background. Like, I'm like, this feels real to me. And I'm like, I don't want to dive too deep into personal shit on the channel like that, but her losing her memory is something that I know all. So I'm like, it's very, very bizarre to see it taken this, and I must say quite well, in a media like this.
Oh yeah.
Which is supposed to be like a lighthearted, semi-dark undertone cartoon. I'm like, oof.
Well, it's curious to me, like, Zarkon, he's like, we've seen flashbacks with him before, and he's like so nice, and but like you see the one where they're naming their child, and it's like, right. I'm trying to figure out, like, that bridge where he goes from that to the glowy-eyed, like, emotionless, is that all the quintessence that did that to him?
I almost want to say yes, because it seems like it affects everybody differently.
It seemed so, like, the scene that I'm interested in here is that, like, that night where they're just sleeping, and then they both wake up and don't know who they are. I'm assuming that was because of the quintessence.
Like, I don't know how much is that, how much is the after effects, how much is, just the innate ability of the quintessence, how much of that is just, each individual factor of it. Yeah,
because, like, the fact that both of them woke up, didn't know who they are except for, like, base instincts, so, she has no idea who she is. She takes the name Hagar based off of the first nurse that tried to cure her, which was interesting.
Right.
But, like, with Zarkon, he kind of just, like, went to instincts and bloodline, and what is the whole thing with the Galro? They like to fucking conquer. They're a warrior race. So it seems like he just kind of, like, forgot about the love for, his wife, forgot about the love for his child's mother. He basically was just like, well, you're useless to me. He kind of lost all that emotional stuff.
Yeets the child to the fucking caretaker.
Yeah, that scene fucking got me, where it's like, okay, you want to, hold the child like every parent does after a birth, and they're like, nah. And, like, the mom's like, nah, and then he's like, nah. It's like, oh my God.
Nah, fam squad.
Now, the
Eat
other
it over there.
Scene that really got me, David, fucking end yourself for saying fam squad unironically. The other scene that really got me was that, like, planet that Lotor was kind of like experimenting, like, oh, okay, we're gonna do it differently than just conquering them. We'll work together. We'll value and honor these people on this planet, and then we can get just as much or more quintessence that way. But because Zarkon is just so fucking stubborn, he's like, no, it's weak. Meh. And then, like, they knock him out and then wake him up just in time to see the ruins of the planet of all these people that he had, like, befriended and shit. Like, that was like, oh, God.
That was like, what the fuck, man? Just KYS.
That shit got me feely, because, like, I mean, even though we didn't see a lot of his interactions on that planet, but, like, from the one conversation he was having with that other alien, I got the vibe that they had kind of grown, like, close as, like, comrades and stuff,
Right? It's... See, I really don't know how to feel about Zarkon still to this day.
He's a strange one.
Because you can see that he was once a, normal person.
Mm-hmm.
And then now near the end of his life and all that, and, depending on what fan theory you want to fucking latch on to.
Right. It's it's strange, and especially like I almost like even like the Galra as a race, and luckily as a fiction we can say that their race in general are assholes. And the only reason I say that is like they're built up to it. Like literally you have when they're naming their child, one of them's like, oh, I want to name him after this god that created a bunch of the worlds, and he's like, I want to name him after this god that conquered all the worlds. Like, chill, Galra, like relax.
All right. And
like, even
honestly,
when he's nice, he's doing that whole, well, we gotta conquer, we gotta make our son conquer the worlds. It's like, bro, like already from jump, you're an asshole because you want to do that. So that's why I'm like very torn on this whole Galra stuff. And of course, towards the end of this 3-episode chunk, we see that at least this kind of like subsect of Galra have finally come around to seeing that Voltron's on their side. So
right,
they're like, oh, okay, well, you guys saved my life twice. You risked your lives for me twice. I was stupid to deny that. We're on your side now. So that was cool.
Right. It's not all Galra that seem to be innately
Hashtag
evil.
not all Galra.
End yourself for that. Like, there's some of them that seem to be, normal, fucking people too, and it's just really, really weird to see them thrown into this fucking, we gotta conquer everything because has to go all away.
Yeah, I wonder how much of that is like upbringing. I wonder how much of that is like, because sometimes in science fiction, I have seen plenty of science fiction things where it's like just genetically in their genetics, they're bred for war and they love warfare. Like the Sontarans in Doctor Who are that way. The war. Yeah. So I wonder, the troops, the Galran troops. We have to protect the Galran Empire.
How the fuck do we turn this into a Kyle Kalinske video?
Everything could be a Kyle Kalinske meme. One day we'll get popular enough, and then he'll notice me. My senpai will notice me. When we have like 5,000 subscribers, I'm gonna be like, all right, Controlled Chaos Army, tweet storm Kyle Kalinske. He's my boy. No one will know who I'm talking about. It's a political commentator because I'm a fucking nerd. I'm the worst kind of nerd. I'm a politics nerd. But yeah. I know, it terrifies even me. But anyway, so yeah, I wonder if they're gonna like if this will kind of turn into one of those like the Galran people notice that they've kind of been like they brought up wrong. They kind of all have a realization like, oh, warfare is stupid if we could do it this way, So I'm curious if they're gonna go down that path or not.
It almost seems like they want to go down that very, very generic path with them.
And it depends on how it's done. I don't think it's too generic if, like... Because, do you think it would be less generic to have them, like, just genetically prone to be more warlike?
Like, both options we have right now at the pacing we're going, and that's one thing I want to bring up, are leading us down... We're the super, super bred for war, genetically, blah, blah, blah... Or we have the very, very generic, like, we were wrong, we were brought up wrong. And given that we have so few episodes left, neither really, unless they masterfully fucking do it, can be wrapped up really, really well. With everything else they still have left to wrap up. And that's been the one major complaint I've seen for this season is...
And both of us have only seen the first 3 episodes, but I have seen people thinking that the pacing is a little too quick near the end. And a lot of shows fall into this where they're kind of like they spend a lot of time masterfully setting stuff up, and then they kind of just like go way too fast at the very end,
I hate to say it, even Avatar had this.
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm trying to think of a good example of a show that like ended like at a good pace. Like, do you think Breaking Bad ended at a good pace?
It ended at an adequate pace. It wasn't too fast. It wasn't too slow. But it still left a little bit of a hanging,
Well, and then you gotta talk about the kind of balancing act of like ending a show at the point where people still want it to continue. Because like some writers would argue that like it's better to end your show in a way that makes people want more than to end it in a way that makes people wish it was over a season ago.
Simpsons.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they wrap all this up. I liked seeing a lot of Lotor's stuff. Like, Lotor kind of connecting with this cat, was kind of cute. We got to see why he had that cat. I think another scene I really liked with Lotor was him as a little child, which I gotta ask, how in the fuck does he have like a little British accent as a child when who is he surrounded by that's giving him that accent?
I'm gonna bet that it's mostly the caretaker thing.
Oh, okay. All right. I was gonna say
playing
that
on
makes more
tropes
sense. Yeah, I
there.
can feel. And also, it was cool to see that caretaker again because that was, if I'm remembering correctly, that was the caretaker that was like fucking around with like Hunk, right?
Yeah, and that's one trope that I actually love that they played on is like a lot of parents will, their upper class will fucking throw their kids over to the caretaker.
Yeah, like we don't have time to have kids, but we'll have them. We just won't.
We'll have them to carry on our legacy, and to save our marriage and all this, but fuck raising them.
We'll have them, but we won't we'll have them and then we won't teach them ourselves, and then we'll be mad when they're not what we want them to be.
Oof.
But no, I mean, Zarkon's just like an unredeemable cunt at this point, and I'm curious if they're going to keep him as an unredeemable cunt or not. But, I mean, it doesn't matter either way. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
How do you feel about, I'm still going to call her Hagar, because that's the name I know her as. How do you feel about Hagar going to that settlement that was all, like, worshipping Lotor and shit, and basically being like, alright, she's dead, follow me now?
I mean, it was fucking foreshadowed that she'd be trying to fucking do this. As Onerva, blah, 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 we're gonna fucking do this. I'm like, okay, cool, but how are you gonna wrap this up in a neat little bow at this point?
I mean, let's not worry about that too much as we're reviewing them, like, chunk by chunk, because if we're worried about that so much, we're not gonna be able to really enjoy the season. Let's kind of like take it as in stride and see where we go with it.
What I mean is, we saw that that was going to be, the route they went last season, because Lotor going into the quintessence field and being disappeared and all that, and then that robot being sent there.
Mm-hmm.
That was the major theory, that it was Onerva that fucking sent the robot there. It was all of the Altean, side coming back to conquer the Galra or fucking run the Galra at the very least. But at the same time, I want to see how she got led down this path completely.
Well, and then this is my theory, and if I've missed something, let me know. So the way I looked at it was that she had forgotten about Lotor being her son for the longest of times.
Oh yeah.
And like as she started to like regain those memories, I think now she's kind of like on a fucking warpath. So she's probably, I can see her being pissed at Zarkon. I can see her being pissed at Voltor, the Pokemon Voltorb. I can see her
Jeremy
being
Dooley.
pissed at Voltron, Lotor, everyone essentially. And she's kind of becoming like now that I remember what the fuck happened, everyone fucked me over. I'm just gonna do my own thing.
I want to agree with you up until the piss at Lotor, because she seems like she's on a path to save Lotor too.
Mm-hmm.
Because she knows how the quintessence affects people. So I don't want to say she's on a warpath against her own son, but at the same time, she's probably pissed he fucking went on his own.
Yeah, I more meant pissed in the way that like a protective mother would be pissed,
Oh yeah.
Like,
then yeah, I agree.
Out looking both ways, idiot. You injected fucking quintessence into your arm like a heroin needle.
Ooh. I mean, in a way, you're not wrong either.
Is your son doing quintessence? You're a bad parent.
Oh my god.
Dare to stand up to drugs.
God damn it. Why did I know you were going to go that route?
Because this video needs more comedy, David.
But I honestly want to see how they handled that, because I'm scared and I'm fucking happy that they're going with the Altean, fucking taking over Galra route. But I'm almost what I'm scared about is like, are we going to go on an all-out war again, like we have with the two factions of the Gaul fighting each other, while Voltron's just there playing cleanup crew?
I mean, at the end of the day, this show exists to, have crazy epic space fights, and the plot is just a way to connect all the crazy epic space fights. So I mean, like, you're not.
I don't
watching,
want it
like,
to Gundam itself.
You're not watching some like epic like French indie film that's like fucking like makes you think about the universe and life. Like, it's fucking Voltron, my dude.
You're right, and you're wrong, because the old school at least, wove the plot into this epic space fights.
You don't think this one has?
They've done it, but they're rushing it here.
Yeah. That does seem to be an issue with like a lot of these new shows, because it's like they kind of feel like they. I think that long running is becoming less and less of a thing, because people realize that like long running, 9 times out of 10, long running stuff like burns people out, right? So I think that a lot of times they want to end it quickly, which is good and bad. Good in the sense that, we have better animation, better budget, things look better, but bad in the sense that they have less time to truly like tell these stories that you're only able to tell in stuff like One Piece or like, something that long,
Oh God. Can you imagine if they fucking started writing One Piece today?
Again, it would only take, it would take like someone that's that talented and that determined to do something that long. It takes a lot of determination to do something that long running.
Right.
And I'm going to guess that the old school Voltron was like very Saturday morning cartoon-esque, where they had like shitty animation and it was just kind of
Okay, so wait. Remember the scene where Pidge was watching TV? That's the old school Voltron.
Before we go into that scene, do you mind if I finish one more thing I was going to say?
Yeah.
So like the way I look at it, the old, like, because you were saying how the old one kind of had more time to like tie the plot in. I assume that's because the old one was more of a week-to-week basis thing, where it was like, we have to have an episode out every week so we can kind of really slowly stretch out this plot line, which in some senses probably is annoying if you try to go back and rewatch it now, but in other senses it gave them more time to do things more naturally. But yeah, so that's how I look at it. It's like you gotta kind of have the choice of like, do you want like nice, neat little bow, really quick and great movie quality animation, or do you want like long stretched out, I'll be watching this for like 10 years of my life? Like it's a give and take.
Right. And I get that, and I think it's a lot of it comes down to the fact that our attention spans as human beings seem to have gotten a fuck ton worse.
Yeah, which makes me sad, because I find myself like unable to like sit down and just pay attention to something. I'm like, and I want to so bad. I'm like, oh, shut up, stop looking at your phone, stop doing this, just watch Red. So yeah, I feel on that one.
I hate to bring personal into this, but like I've been sitting down trying to rewatch because of that scene. I'm like, I actually went out and fucking ordered the old school Voltron because I grew up watching that. I'm sitting there trying to rewatch it, and I'm like, oh God, I forgot how slow this was. But at the same time, I respect the fuck out of the source material. I respect the fuck out of the fact that they were able to do so much with it back then. Yeah. But it's a snail's pace to do shit like that, and I don't know if I have the attention span anymore to sit down and watch all of that again.
Well, and a lot of it comes down to how busy life is. When if you got a job and school, it's very difficult. So, but yeah,
I'm looking at my schedule right now. I'm like, fuck me in the asshole.
Yeah. Anyone willing to do that? Type in the comments.
Oh God!
If we ever get enough fans, there probably would be someone willing to do
that. I'm using it as a figure of speech, not as a literal sense.
Like, I'm just like, every time, as our fucking subscriber count grows, every time we say something like that, I'm just waiting for some asshole to be like, ooh, me.
Me, I'll do it.
I'm pretty sure, like, every time someone's been like, fuck me on Achievement Hunter, I guarantee you, if you scroll enough, someone's like, please me, I want to.
I'll fuck you, Papa Jeff.
So yeah, these are the dreams. Like, most people want to be famous for, like, adoration and praise, and I just want to be able to walk down the street and for someone to be like, oh, I'll fuck your asshole. And so I can politely decline, but know that I have the option if I ever swing that way.
Oh my god.
So, transitioning over to the old Voltron reference with Pidge, Best Girl Pidge. Oh my god. I love how it's like, she kind of makes fun of how the old school Pidge was voiced, and unfortunately goes down that. When you and I, we watched this one together, and when she started doing the whole, like, wait a minute, I can get shit for free if I just tell everyone I'm Pidge. So she's like, famous Voltron. I'm like, oh god, stop it, Pidge.
Oh god, Pidge. I love you, but stop. You're being creepy. I'm not saying that point in time, you know?
Yeah, I mean, so I I just keep like Pidge is one of those interesting characters where it's like, I like that she still has that like childlike what's the word I'm looking for here? Like, she's not just like totally like, oh, I'm a hero, I'm not gonna take advantage of people. She'll still do that shit. She's like, wait a minute, I can get free shit? Hell yeah. You know, like, I like that there's still that aspect of her character. But at the same time, the moment where they're shopping for her date clothes, how easily she gives up that game was almost kind of sad to me. Because like, it was nice, but at the same time, the way Pidge said it was something along the lines of like, I won't have time to play it anyway. It's like, I saw the destruction of like a childhood, the destruction of a hobby, the destruction of like what she enjoys in life through that scene. Where it's like, right, my life has been taken over by this anyway. I'm basically just a fucking soldier now. Like, it made me sad.
You know, that's the downside to, you know, their career path essentially. Now. I don't really want to call it a career path, but I hate to say it, but it kind of is. It kind of is their career path at this point. Like, they are the defenders of the fucking universe. You know, they're fucking sitting there, you know, day in and day out, risking their lives to fucking protect everybody from the Galran invasion, fucking doing all this. And honestly, I hate to say it, I kind of relate to Pidge there. Like, I find myself less and less free to fucking sit down and play a game and sit down and fucking enjoy a TV show or sit down and do shit. You know, normal life, I can't imagine how little free time they have with all the training and all that.
Exactly.
That would go into, you know, I'm going hyper deep into this, you know, doing all this fucking shit for the universe, fighting aliens, saving planets.
Also, I gotta be honest, if I knew that like the fucking like apocalypse of the universe was like right around the corner, if we didn't like do something, I'd find it hard to just relax and play a game anyway.
Right? Like, to handle that, especially at her fucking age, how well she handled it.
Girl Pidge, I want to hug her. Like, I do feel like a little bit of depression in her. Like I don't know if that, I'm probably reading way too deeply into it, but the fact that like she was that willing to give up like video games, it's like, no.
The fact that she was that willing to give up video games that she's been waiting years and years and years to play.
I know.
Like, that's super depressing.
Yeah, and I hope that like near the end of this season, when we kind of like see everything get wrapped up, I hope she's able to kind of like return back to like what she enjoys in life, and I hope it's not like ruined for her forever.
Right? It's so fucking
too real.
It really is. And
okay, I guess the last thing to talk about would be the main chunk of shit at the. Oh, okay. You want to talk about the fucking Lance Allura romance? I suppose.
Ship.
I don't like it. It's a ship. I'm almost always into canon ships, but I'm not a fan.
Because he's a scumbag?
Because Lance is a scumbag. He has not done enough to convince me that he is not a full scumbag. Like, it to me, this feels like if Rukia got with Cone from Bleach.
Okay, how would that work? Are we talking full-on Mod Soul plushie Cone?
I'm talking you take the pill out and put him in whatever body you want. In fact, if anything, it's probably pretty good for Rukia, because she could make a Mod Soul. She could request a mod body with a huge dick, and then slap that pellet. Whatever you want in a body.
There's a hentai of this.
It probably exists, honestly. I mean, I know for a fact The beautiful thing about the Bleach fandom is anytime that they want to use a Futanari plot, all they have to do is say, I got a different body, and I got a dick on it. Like, it's quite easy to do a Futa plot in Bleach.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Red.
I've seen all the Bleach hentai. All of it. All of it.
I don't know if that's impressive or depressing.
Because that was like the first anime I ever watched, and then, you know, my little fucking late middle school self, super hormone, Lycan Rukia, I was like, I must read all the Bleach hentai.
God damn it.
Yeah. But either way, like, it just feels.
I honestly find it endearing.
Like ship. It just feels weird to me because Allura just seems like she's so. You know, I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. Like I can't even fully describe why. It feels like kind of. It's the same reason why.
It feels like this. Okay, I got a way to describe it. It feels like the scummy dude goes and fucking becomes the rebound guy.
Okay, I got an example. Okay, I won't say who. To protect certain things, I won't say who. But there was a certain person that you wanted to hit on.
This gets edited out. God damn it! This gets edited out. I refuse to allow this on the channel.
Really? I'm not even fucking saying who. It could be anyone.
Literally anybody can piece this together, man.
It's so funny now.
3, 2, 1, we're back. God damn you, you scumbag.
It's so funny.
Literally anybody could have pieced that together.
Fine.
You know it's true. Anybody could piece that together.
Damn it. It's so funny, though. Point being, most of that will be bleeped out, and I'll send you a clip to make sure you approve it first. But David, at one point in his life, wanted to hit on someone that was, like, so above his league. And I was like, listen, if that ever happened, I would probably just kill myself, because the world would be unjust.
I mean...
You agreed!
I agree that definitely she's out of my league, but why not try?
No, yeah, and you know what? That's great, but, like, it's almost like look at Lance, man. Like, he's just, like, to me, he has almost no redeemable qualities. He's done a couple nice things, but, like, it really does feel like... Okay, you know what? I think one of the reasons it maybe might trigger me is because, like, I've lived in a life of being, like, the boring vanilla dude, whereas, like, most girls always go for, like, the cool, like, A guy, even though that A guy is gonna, like, break her heart eventually, and then, like, I'm over there just, like, I want love, but I'm boring. So it's, like, I feel like Allura is going for this idiot, and I'm like, ah!
I can see why she's going for him, though, and this is a depressing reality.
Desperation.
No, it's not even desperation. It's
loneliness. Crippling loneliness.
Okay, Red. I'm going to be real with you. It's the fact that he was the first person to actually show care for her since being uncryofrozen, essentially, and actually being willing to fucking go above and beyond anything since that entire time, to be somebody that actually, aside from Kuran, who's essentially her fucking father figure, show that same sort of love. And that's something a lot of people, not just women, a lot of people in general fucking look for in a partner. Of course.
I mean, I will say, though, like, I got the vibe that Lance did it purely with the end goal of getting in her pants.
At first, it might have been his end goal, and that's a lot of, you know, the end goals for a lot of these people that go into that kind of relationship is like, I want to get laid, and then they end up actually falling in love with that person, and they're like,
I mean, I guess
it's like,
I look at love. I've always looked at love as like a connection, things that like are, you have this like connection, you can talk for hours, you know, things like that, and I didn't really see it with that, I suppose.
I mean, there's many different types of relationships, and
True.
maybe that's all she's looking for in a partner. You know, whereas you look for somebody that you can spend long hours fucking sitting talking about the universe and politics and all this shit and Doctor Who and
I'm a
My Hero
philosopher
Academia
at heart, David.
and how fucking Senku radiates big dick energy.
Yeah. Are you saying I want to fuck Thurman? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I'm shocked you two didn't fuck while I was, you know,
I mean,
out
it got
of that
close.
apartment. That does not surprise me at all.
But I guess I'll just say I get it. Sure. Me personally, I didn't see it, and every time it's a moment, I can't help but cringing, and I feel bad because you know it should be a beautiful moment, but I'm like I don't like it. So maybe, hopefully, this season they can turn me around on that. You got one more chance. Let's go.
Yeah. Whereas, you know, people like me look for a partner that's not just that fucking, you know, communication, you know, fucking that still plays a role in it, but I actually want something that's, you know, more of a soul-bound connection instead of just I can sit and talk to you.
What quantifies a soul-bound connection? That's a very ethereal concept.
It's a very ethereal concept, and that's kind of why, you know.
So you believe? Do you believe in love at first sight?
I really kind of do.
See, I don't. That's probably where we differ because
yeah,
I believe in lust at first sight, but
see, you know, I can feel both. That's why I use Tinder as long as I did. Like, I still need something, you know. Even
I
if
can
it's...
certainly look at a woman and find her very attractive. Here's a perfect example of why love at first sight doesn't work for me. There was a coworker that came into my job, and I immediately found her like entirely my type, attractive wise, right? And a couple days later, I was talking to her, just, you know, and out of nowhere, she mentioned that she was a big Ben Shapiro fan. You know who that is, right?
I mean, yeah, I know, right-wing political commentator, yeah.
But, like, very, like, a far-right political commentator, which is an immediate, like, nope for me. So, like, it's just, like, that, like, she looked like she'd be someone I'd be really into if I was going pure by looks, but then it was like,
see, I can deduce somebody's personality quite well within the first time talking to them. And that's something a lot of people can't do.
That's love at first conversation. I can believe in that. I thought we were talking
about
sight.
Like, I can see if they're my type, go in, fucking talk to them. If they're fucking crazy, then no, I'm not into that.
Rainbow hair detected. Moving in.
No. Rainbow hair hipster, you know, chick detected. That's not my only fucking...
No, but that's stage one.
You know...
I know I'm messing.
You can be a complete
good love conversation though. That was deep.
You can be a complete fucking normie, and I can still find you attractive in some way.
Okay. So any final comments? How about I guess the whole like thing that the monster that was created to like hunt down Galra. What's your thoughts on that?
The monster is okay. So immediately, as someone that's read, and I know they probably play this, but as somebody that's read the fucking Shattered Grid storyline I'm like, that's a Black Dragon Zord.
So it's some Power Rangers shit.
It's the evil fucking Zord from the fucking original Lord Drakon scene.
Okay, so
I'm like, God
I want to Google it. It's called a Black Dragon Zord.
Dragon Megazord. Look up Boom Comics. I think it was issue 28. Fucking Nerd. Black Dragon Meg.
Yeah, okay, I definitely see it. It's in the, so if I've got the right picture, it's got the similar like face and jaw shit, and it's also about to shoot a laser out of its hand.
Exactly.
All right, everybody at home, Google that and see Google exactly that and see what he's talking about. I mean, yeah.
Am I wrong?
Am I wrong? Fair, Alteans are just humans with little fucking marks on their faces and no nipples.
And no nipples.
By the way, I don't know if you know this from listening to if you haven't listened to our last one, I headcanon that Alteans have no nipples because they were confused about how cows worked. So, you know, as you're about to fucking make some sweet love with Allura, Lance, Get ready to see just like lumps of boob,
Lumps of
with
fat.
no nipple. What am I gonna bite on?
Maybe she's got tentacles there.
Oh! Tentacle nipples! Hell yeah. That's hot.
You're like, this is a little bit too phallic for my liking. What do I do with this?
That's a comic I need. Like, where Lance is about to, like they're having sex for the first time, and he's like, oh my god, I forgot you were an alien. What, is there things I need to know?
Well, my two tentacle nipples have
Yeah, you
clitorises,
gotta twist my tentacle nipples. Twist them hard.
Oh my god.
Pull on them. No, even that. It's gotta be different than a cow, because they didn't understand how a cow worked. Interesting.
That's why I said, Mom, my two tentacle nipples have clitorises, so you gotta stimulate them too.
No, nipple clits. That's a fucking tag on hentai. Why is that a tag, by the way? Have you ever seen that? There is definitely. I've seen a hentai where her nipples look like clits.
I don't know. It's disturbing.
This is what we talk about on this channel. Please dislike and leave if you don't like it. All right.
My god. Can you imagine if we tried to monetize this?
Nipple
This would get
clits,
age
sponsored by
gated.
Coca-Cola.
This would get age gated immediately for the shit that we're talking about.
This is like NC-17 or whatever.
This
or
is
NC-21.
bordering
What the
on
fuck is
X
it? The one that's
rating.
like above R?
Yeah, NC-17 is above R, and then you go to X rating.
We're always X-rated over here. Well, final thoughts on this chunk of episodes here, David.
I want a dragon sword in action.
Yeah, I mean, we saw some good action. Teleporty Wolf is still broken and hacks to all fucking oblivion, which still, I'm calling it now. In this season, Teleporty Wolf is gonna die.
No!
It's happening.
Plushie of him first.
Yeah, well, first we have to have merch, then he can die.
That is very dark and very true to any fucking fandom, though.
Do you think if I play Jake Paul's Buy That Merch right now, we'll get copyright restricted?
Alexa.
I get 10 seconds of it.
Play Buy That Merch by Jake Paul.
Oh, there's an ad.
I can't find Buy That Merch by Jake Paul.
Hold on, I got you.
Alexa's like, no,
You taste
fuck that
this,
cringe
David.
lord.
All right.
And
Anyway. Oh. Gonna buy it all. Here we go. Here comes the chorus. That is unironically the best merch selling song ever.
it really is.
Oh my god.
I
love
cannot
it.
stand
Like,
the
I hate Jake
fucker,
Paul with
but
a
he
burning
makes
passion.
a great goddamn song.
Bad at merch.
Just like I
if we
can't stand.
I'm saying it now. When and if we create merch, I will use that song in some way. If I have to fucking like pitch shift it, distort it to not get copyrighted, I'll do it. But I'm using that song.
Just the chorus. That's all it is.
Buy that merch, but it sounds like it's sung by fucking Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. Like, zoinks! Buy that merch!
But have you ever noticed that the character gets merch and then they die?
Ha! Well, yeah, you gotta sell it before they... Because if someone dies, it's like, well, I don't want their merch now. They're dead.
Except for Pyrrha. Pyrrha got merch after she fucking
Pyrrha
died.
got that derpy fucking plushie that, like, is so derpy that it's become a legend.
The great one.
The great one. I will say, though, in a serious note, the reason I think Teleporty Wolf is gonna die is that just two story things that happen a lot. One, you ever watch I Am Legend with Will Smith?
Yep.
Movies like killing dogs, David. They like it. It's a very easy emotional thing to do. But two, he is one hacks motherfucker. Like, it's like, oh, is there a thing we need to get into? Poof. Oh, is there an attack coming at me? Poof. Like it's too easy.
I fucking love the.
I do love him too, but he is a walking Deus Ex Machina that borfs. He's a borfing Deus Ex Machina.
Added some a picture of Akisa.
Borf. So yeah, I expect him to die right before the final battle, so it'll be more challenging and they won't have a teleporty wolf. So yeah, that's my final thoughts. Any final thoughts on you before we peace?
Final thoughts. I honestly, I want to do 4, 5, and 6 in the next couple days.
Right, we will.
And in 4, 5, and 6, I want to see them pace out, because here's what they're going to have to do. I don't know exactly how many episodes there are. I think there's 8 this season.
I think it's more than that. Hold on, I will double check though.
I've got Netflix.
Maybe that's why you're so nervous about the pacing, because I was under the impression it was a bit more. Hold on. Free shipping, y'all. All right, Voltron. Let's see here. So we have.
There's 13. Okay.
Yeah. See.
So if there's 13, here's what they gotta do. They gotta wrap up or begin to the from Onerva and the Alteans flashback. They gotta do all that preparations for war. They also have to wrap up the. I'm going to assume what they're also going to do is wrap up this little bit of recruiting sex of the Galra. They're going to have to do that. And 4, 5, and 6. 7, 8, and 9 are going to be the setup for the final battle. And 10, 11, and 12 are going to be that battle. And 13 is going to be that episode where they wrap up where everybody goes, where they do, all the things that they want to do with their family and their loved ones and all that shit, and then put a nice, neat little bow on it.
Yee. I agree. Probably. And we'll see.
Only 8. So, but there's still not a lot of time for dead zones. It's like pacing Infinity War. If they were fucking doing it from the viewpoint of the heroes instead of Thanos.
Interesting.
Think about that. I'm not wrong though.
No,
really.
I guess I see what you're saying. Yeah, that'd be a very scrunched up movie.
Right. That's what concerned me going into Infinity War is like, how are they going to? And I think that's kind of what Achievement Hunter brought up when they were talking about it. In preparation for it, there's not a lot of room for dead zones here. They can't have their funny moments. They couldn't have their fucking.
That's a good point. I've noticed that. Like, it's a little bit less comedic, except for that first episode to kind of like ease in.
Right. So it's definitely something that we gotta kind of take into consideration here as we go in reviewing the last bit. Is like, obviously there's not going to be the lighthearted moments like we had with last season where we had the fucking Dungeons and Dragons episode. We're not going to have, your funny little, mall trips and shit like that as much as we're going to have, oh, shit's about to get real.
For real, yeah, and I hope that they're able to mix comedy and action well, because I think the best shows are ones that like keep the characters their quirky selves while still having them in serious situations. So
yeah, that's something that I'm concerned / fucking hopeful for, that they can do it and do it well, and they can also fucking find a way to wrap every little loose plot thread up nicely. But judging by the fandom's outcry, I'm going to assume, and fandoms can be toxic no matter what they get. So
I mean, remember their outcry at Shiro's dead husband.
The Shiro's dead husband or boyfriend or partner or whatever.
Yeah, but I don't know. I didn't see like a huge outcry. I just saw like people are generally disappointed, so we'll have to see. I'd like to, hold off on that until we have our own opinions on it. So yeah.
But the one thing I can't escape on the fucking information soapbox that is the internet is, people bitching that it's mispaced. It's definitely not, feeling, as natural as previous seasons because they were so rushed. Mm-hmm. I'm okay with being rushed as long as I'm in plot thread, wrapped up nicely. I mean, I still as much as I find flaw with how quickly Avatar wrapped up, I still find it one of the best series of all time.
Yep.
I still find, fucking as much as, Dragon Ball Super felt rushed at the end, I still find it an enjoyable series, because I grew up with Dragon Ball. I had my issues with how it was fucking handled with Super, near the end, because they decided to throw out all the rules of the tournament, but I still found it enjoyable. You can still find enjoyment in as long as they do it right and do it, really, and fucking, so hopefully Voltron's able to do that. We'll see. I honestly, after this season, like I said in the thank you video, I'd love to bring back another cartoon to replace Voltron on the channel as a fucking,
Definitely.
discussion.
I think Netflix has a lot of good stuff, I think, ongoing, and hopefully we can latch onto one of those. I think Genlock will be a really good, at least replacement for Ruby.
From what I have seen people talk about Genlock, because they premiered on Rooster Teeth TV, is that it was actually fucking good. It was phenomenal. It was, probably one of the best pieces of shit to come out of Rooster Teeth. And,
I'm looking forward to it, man. Do you know when it actually premieres so we can start reviewing it?
It's sometime in January.
Cool. All right. Well,
so
anyway, I look forward to seeing the rest of this season of Voltron. I'm not gonna be too negative until I see it myself.
Definitely.
There's been plenty of reviews where I've disagreed with, so we'll have to see. But yeah, for me, that's peace. How about you?
Peace.